I would tell him, maybe he should get on the Jewish diet. Because the kosher meals is way better than the food somebody else is making for you. At least they're going to come hot. They're going to come sealed, and you got to be the one to open them.
Okay, Larry, spill the tea. What are you hearing about Diddy's eating?
Well, I got an inside source there at MDC, and if they knew who it was, they'd really plots. When people go into custody, they have anxiety, they're depressed, a lot of things go through their mind. And one of the things they do is they stop eating. Look what happened to Jeff Epstein. I got people every day saying, you think they're going to Epstein him? And I go, well, I really don't know. Imagine if someone paid someone off on the inside to actually poison his food, give him a heart attack, and he dies. And no one would really think anything of it. So that may be one of the reasons he's not eating. There's a possibility that he wants to go on a kosher diet. It's prepared a little bit differently. It's a religious diet.
All right, y'all. Diddy's situation behind bars just got wild. Word on the street is that a prison doctor spilled some tea, saying Diddy might have caught a deadly disease while locked up. And honestly, the details are jaw-dropping. We're talking about a man who went from living the high life to facing some seriously harsh realities. So what's really happening behind those bars? And how did things spiral this far? Here's the scoop. Folks are saying Diddy's been dropping weight like crazy. And no, it's not just from prison food. Apparently, he's dealing with some serious health issues, including rumors about an acute STD. Now, you already know Diddy's been locked up for months, waiting for his trial in May 2025. But things inside are messy. Remember all those stories about his lifestyle? Well, it seems like he might have carried those habits into prison. Allegedly, Diddy's got a little crew of male fans in jail, and these dudes are reportedly really close, like beyond just helping him make his bed, if you catch my drift. And since access to protection in prison is pretty limited, rumors are flying that Diddy might have contracted something serious while behind bars. And if he did, well, let's just say that it ain't such a big surprise. Apart from the fact that we know Diddy tried very hard to keep the freak-offs going in prison, we also know that the conditions behind bars are terrible. Ever since his arrest on September 16, 2024, Diddy has been stuck in the Special Housing Unit, a section notorious for its harsh environment. He's been denied bail multiple times and is sleeping on a cold concrete floor with only a thin mattress. His tiny 8 by 10 foot cell supposedly doesn't even have basic necessities like a pillow or proper bedding. To make things worse, he has almost no privileges, no books, no TV, nothing to distract him from the isolation. The SHU is particularly tough for someone as high profile as Diddy. Other inmates are taunting him by shouting the lyrics to his own songs as they pass his cell. On top of that, the jail conditions are filthy, with rats adding to the nightmare. Diddy's even refusing to eat the prison food because he's worried it might be tampered with, which has raised fears about potential poisoning or contamination.
Well, I got an inside source there at MDC, and if they knew who it was, they'd really plots. When people go into custody, they have anxiety, they're depressed, a lot of things go through their mind. And one of the things they do is they stop eating. Look what happened to Jeff Epstein. I got people every day saying, you think they're going to Epstein him? And I go, well, I really don't know. Imagine if someone paid someone off on the inside to actually poison his food, give him a heart attack, and he dies. And no one would really think anything of it. So that may be one of the reasons he's not eating. There's a possibility that he wants to go on a kosher diet. It's prepared a little bit differently. It's a religious diet.
Even his lawyer talked about MDC, and he said it is a very difficult place to be an inmate. It ain't even about the cell conditions. It's bad all over the place. The facility is infamous for staff shortages, violence, and just overall bad conditions. What else would you expect from a place that housed names like R. Kelly and Ghislaine Maxwell and other notorious criminals? On top of his grim living situation, prosecutors are accusing Diddy of trying to interfere with the legal process while in jail. They claim he's behind social media campaigns aimed at swaying public opinion and possibly tampering with witnesses. These allegations only make it harder for him to argue for bail, as authorities believe he'd be a serious threat if released. It's rather clear for everyone from the outside looking in. The drastic shift from his luxurious lifestyle to facing such extreme consequences has clearly taken a toll on him, both physically and emotionally. But some folks just ain't letting go of him, and they're still dragging his name through the mud. The first one in line is none other than Jaguar Wright. Even way before his arrest, Jaguar's been going off on Diddy, calling him the devil and accusing him of being a puppet for powerful industry players. She's been dragging him and Jay-Z for years, claiming they've been pulling shady moves that everyone ignored, until now. We all remember that interview with Piers Morgan where she called both Diddy and Jay-Z monsters and demanded Jay-Z take accountability for Diddy's arrest. Jai didn't mince words, claiming both of these guys have been involved in predatory behavior in the music industry for years. Truth be told, she has been out here for the past 4 years, publicly airing out these dudes and many others too. If you ask Jaguar, there's no shortage of people ready to speak out against these industry heavyweights. She claims to have spoken with hundreds of individuals who have suffered at their hands and even estimated that thousands of victims could be connected to them. But that's just the beginning of all the shocking allegations. Jaguar recently claimed that Diddy is secretly living with HIV. She said he's been dealing with this head up and hinted that others in the industry might be in the same boat. Jaguar even claimed to know at least 20 men who are also allegedly HIV positive but chose not to name names, promising to reveal more on her upcoming show. But her accusations don't stop with Diddy. As you know, Jaguar called out Beyoncé and Jay-Z, accusing them of being complicit in the wrongdoing within their circle. She labeled them a vile couple and claimed they've turned a blind eye to the horrific actions taking place around them. Whether or not Jaguar's allegations are true or not, only time will tell. However, what we do know about Diddy in jail is that he is refusing to leave his cell at MDC. Recent reports say that he's had a tantrum behind bars, and as a result, it's causing all kinds of trouble with his legal cases. He won't even come out to accept court papers. Now, this might just be because of his health if the HIV rumors are true. He might be struggling physically and doesn't want to be seen, but others think it's paranoia. Diddy's reportedly so scared of being poisoned, he's skipping meals. And honestly, when you hear all the shady stuff he's been accused of, like allegedly poisoning people, it's not that surprising he'd think someone might flip the script on him. But what about the others who were in Diddy's shoes? How did they survive through the horrible conditions at 1600? Well, here's what we know. R. Kelly, for example, is locked up at this medium security prison in North Carolina, serving a 30-year sentence for and racketeering. On top of that, he got hit with another 20 years for child charges, but they're running those sentences together, so it's not piling up too much more. His life in prison? Super strict. Barely any privileges, constant isolation. It's not exactly helping his mental health. His lawyers have even flagged that inmates in general have shorter life expectancies because of how draining it all is. Then there's Ghislaine Maxwell, who's doing 20 years in Florida for helping Jeffrey Epstein. She's had her fair share of drama behind bars too. At one point, they put her on suicide watch, even though her lawyers said it wasn't necessary. And let's not forget the crazy amount of media attention she's been getting. It's gotta be exhausting. Now, Diddy's situation sounds just as bad, if not worse. There are reports that he's sleeping on a concrete floor and getting harassed by other inmates. Like, imagine going from a life of private jets and luxury to this. It's gotta be a shock to the system.
Simultaneously, with a 30-year sentence for hearing, and the judge ordered Kelly to serve 1 year in prison following hearing sentence.
I was sure he was going to appeal, and I was sure that he was covered under the non-prosecution agreement.
If you think about what happened to R. Kelly and Maxwell, it kind of gives us an idea of what Diddy might face. Both of them are stuck dealing with long sentences and never-ending legal battles, which could easily be Diddy's reality if he's convicted. And the conditions they faced have messed with their health, so it's not hard to imagine Diddy's situation could take a toll too, especially if he's already dealing with health issues like some rumors suggest. And let's not forget the media. Kelly and Maxwell have both been dragged through the headlines non-stop, and Diddy is already facing the same kind of pressure, if not worse. That kind of attention doesn't just disappear, it follows you even in prison. Plus, being cut off from friends and family doesn't help. Both Kelly and Ghislaine have felt that isolation, and Diddy's likely in the same boat. Bottom line, Diddy's probably looking at a tough road ahead. Harsh living conditions, legal drama, health concerns, and all the public backlash. This could all pile up and make things way harder for him. Not just now, but even after he gets out, if he ever does. It's not a good look, and it's definitely not the kind of life he's used to. Speaking of not getting used to, one thing that will never be the same is his entire empire, which is basically in shambles. Diddy was on top for years, running the music game and making serious bank from stuff like his record label, that big Ciroc vodka deal, and Sean John. Dude was worth like $740 million at one point, but ever since those allegations started popping up in late 2023, his world's been falling apart. The Ciroc partnership was huge for him. He made almost $1 billion from it over 15 years. But after the lawsuits hit, Diageo pulled the plug on their deal. That was a huge blow to his cash flow. He tried to save face by selling his stake in De Leon Tequila for $200 $100 million. But here's the kicker. He didn't get anything for Ciroc, despite all the work he put into it. And to top it off, he had to step back from roles in his other businesses, like Revolt TV. Now let's talk about those legal bills. The lawsuits just keep stacking up, and they're not cheap to fight. Hiring the best lawyers in the game? That's draining his bank account fast. He's got a big trial coming up in May 2025. And honestly, it sounds like his finances might not hold up long enough for him to even get through it. People are already whispering about bankruptcy being a real possibility if things don't turn around. And let's be real, his reputation is taking a nosedive. Once, everyone saw him as this mogul, a boss in every sense of the word. Now, it's all about the controversies and the lawsuits. Brands aren't touching him with a 10-foot pole. And without those partnerships or steady income from his businesses, things are looking rough. Even if he wanted to stage a comeback, it'd be an uphill battle. Public perception has shifted so much that it'd be hard to get people back on his side. And his legacy? Whew. It's at risk of being completely overshadowed by all these scandals. Instead of being remembered as a trailblazer in hip-hop, he might just be known for all this mess. At this point, his future's looking super shaky. Between the lawsuits, the money struggles, and the reputation damage, it's hard to say how he'll bounce back, if he even can. This could be the end of an era for one of hip-hop's biggest names, but it ain't all done and dusted. You see, Diddy won't just go down quietly. He's a big name in the game, and you best believe he'll try to pull down some people with him, especially those who accused him without the receipts. That might be case with a dude called Courtney Burgess.
Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
You see, a few months back, Courtney was out here making some wild claims about him. He went on and on about some tapes that supposedly show Diddy doing all kinds of illegal stuff, including really disturbing allegations involving minors. These accusations have people talking, especially since Diddy is already drowning in lawsuits and criminal charges. Here's where it gets extra messy. In November 2024, Burgess went on interviews claiming that Diddy's late ex, Kim Porter, handed him a bunch of explicit recordings before she passed. Burgess is out here saying he's got flash drives with at least 8 videos of Diddy in compromising situations. And yeah, some of them allegedly involve minors. Naturally, this blew up in the media and made everything 10 times worse for Diddy, who's already in hot water. But Diddy's not taking it lying down. He clapped back with a $50 million defamation lawsuit against Burgess, Burgess's lawyer Ariel Mitchell, and News Nation, the network that aired the allegations. Diddy's legal team is calling the whole thing fake news, saying it's all made up just to ruin his name. They're arguing that these claims are messing with his reputation and could even mess up his chances at a fair trial for all the other legal stuff he's dealing with. This lawsuit is a big move for Diddy because, let's be real, his reputation is on the line. By suing, he's basically telling everyone, I'm not about to let this slide. It's not just about the money, it's about trying to take back control of the narrative and show people he's not going down without a fight. Whether this helps clean up his image or not, only time will tell. Now, if Diddy wins this lawsuit, it could give him a little breathing room and help him save face. It might not fix everything, but it could stop the bleeding, you know? On the flip side, if more accusations or evidence pop up, it's just gonna pile onto his already messy situation. At the end of the day, this whole thing with Burgess is just another layer of chaos for Diddy as he tries to get his life back on track. This $50 million lawsuit, it's a risky but necessary move to protect whatever's left of his reputation. But with everything he's up against in 2025 and beyond, it's looking like a long road ahead for him. Aside from that $50 million defamation lawsuit he's got going on, Diddy's gearing up for his big trial in May 2025. Word is, his whole defense plan is about poking holes in the motives of his accusers. Basically, he's saying, these folks are just out here trying to secure the bag by coming after me. His team seems ready to argue that these accusations are more about money than truth. But that's not all. Diddy's been out here talking about how he feels like the government is doing the most. Like, he's saying this isn't just about him, but part of a bigger plan to control powerful people like him. He's framing himself as a fighter against the system, saying the whole thing is deeper than just lawsuits. It's about power and how it's used against influential individuals. You know, classic me against the world vibes. This isn't just a legal battle for Diddy, it's a PR game too. By calling out these so-called agendas and painting himself as a victim of the system, he's trying to get the public on his side. Whether it's genuine or just strategy, it's clear he's working overtime to rally support while also putting up a fierce fight in court. From filing lawsuits to prepping for trial and calling out these motives publicly, Diddy's making one thing clear: he's not folding anytime soon. The guy is coming at this head on, no matter how messy it gets. But here's the big question: will all these moves help him clean up his image, or is it just going to add more fuel to the fire? Only time will tell, but Diddy's not backing down without a fight. Period. So, what's the deal? Do you think Diddy's paranoia and behavior are tied to health struggles, or is he just dodging responsibility? And what about Jaguar Wright's claims? Could they be exposing some real truths, or is this just more Hollywood drama? Let me know your thoughts down below.